What up, folks? It's your favorite beat eating mofo, fresh off the banana boat. Y'all already know Big Lou tapping in. But what it do with Big Lou, NFCR2, baby, baby. If you haven't already, it'd be highly appreciated if you like, sub, and share the channel with your family, friends, folks, gente, peoples, associates, asocios, amigos, buddies, pals. Also, feel free to leave comments. I respond back to all the comments. I apologize, everybody. I had to reschedule this video a few different times. It's lives. I got caught up doing some things, and then also when I got home, I had to take care of some things with the kids. So it is what it is, you know. What's up, Marky Mark? So this little video is gonna be, as you can see from the thumbnail. If hopefully you guys seen the thumbnail, it's about a little profile of Nolan Ryan, the Ryan Express, and also Mike Schmidt, Philadelphia Phillies great. One of the, in my opinion, the greatest third baseman of all time. And others, they might have him in the top 3 to 5. But personally, I don't see him being past 3. I'll get into all that. But anyways, these two guys were powerhouse players on both sides of the ball. Obviously, Nolan Ryan being a pitcher, Mike Schmidt being a hitter, and he also was a hell of a defensive player at third base. This is just going to be a little quick little profile on these guys, just from off the top of my head. Nolan Ryan was drafted by the New York Mets. He's out of Texas. I think he's from Arvin, Texas. Little Arlen or Arvin, Texas. Little small place, not very big at all. He was drafted by the Mets, so you got a country boy from Texas going to the big city of New York, right? His wife, he got married young. I guess he was with his wife. Her name's Ruth. He got with her. They were young, like 17. She was 15. And then I believe he went away, got drafted, I think at 18 or 19 by the Mets. Started playing for the Mets. He had the year they won the World Series. He played pretty well, and he was a relief pitcher at that time. Later, he became a starter after he moved on to the Angels. But I believe even with the Mets, I think they tried him as starter, but as a starting pitcher. But Nolan Ryan had a lot of problems with his control, and he would hit a lot of batters. He was very wild, but he threw with a lot of heat. What's up, Drito 5K? Marky Mark. Nolan Ryan was my guy. That's who I paid close attention to as a kid and a pitcher from 8 years old through high school baseball. Yeah. So, yeah. Also there with the Mets, you had another young up-and-comer by the name of Tom Seaver, right? Who he ended up being one of the all-time greats. R.I.P. Tom Seaver. He just passed away not too long ago. I want to say probably within the last 2 years. But R.I.P. Tom Seaver. So there was also a couple other players, young pitchers there with the Mets as well. I can't remember their names right offhand, but they had good success early on as young pitchers, young developing pitchers. They didn't have the career that Nolan Ryan or Tom Seaver or Steve Carlton had, or even Don Sutton at that matter. Carlos. So what he ends up getting traded to the first the general manager calls him and tells him, hey, Nolan, you're going to California. So he just automatically thought it was going to be the Dodgers. He automatically thought it was the Dodgers he was going to. And as a kid, Sandy Koufax was his idol. He idoled Sandy Koufax, right? So, if anybody don't know, Sandy Koufax is probably one of the greatest, left-handed pitchers ever. I would probably say, I think Warren Spahn was left-handed as well. Warren Spahn, Sandy Koufax, probably obviously Randy Johnson, the big unit, right? But let me give a little bit of background behind Nolan Ryan first. He's born on January 31st, 1947, right? He's 75 years old currently right now. He's born in Refugio, Texas. He threw right. He batted right. He made his debut for the Mets on September 11, 1966, and his last appearance was September 22nd, 1993 for the Rangers. So damn near 27 years to the day from his debut to when he retired. He had a career win-loss record of 324 wins, 294 losses with a 3.19 ERA. with 5,714 strikeouts. And number 2 is on the strikeout list is Randy Johnson, and he's damn near, he's like 1,000 behind him for the second place. Sandy Koufax might be the GOAT, definitely the best lefty. Yeah, I would say so. I think Warren Spahn's there too with him. Randy Johnson's there with him. But yeah, definitely up there. He had I remember Jim Abbott. I remember he played for the Angels too. Let's get into this. So he played from the Mets from 66, and then he got called back up from 68 to 71, and then he played for the Angels from 72 to 79, the Astros from 80 to 88, Texas Rangers 89 to 93. He's an 8-time All-Star, 1972, 73, 75, 77, 79, 81, 85, and 89. He's got a World Series ring from 1969 when he was with the Mets. He's a 2-time NL ER leader, 1981 and 87. 11-time strikeout leader, 72, 73, 74, 76, 77, 78, 79, 87, 88, 89, and 90. His number 30 is retired by the Angels. His number 34 is retired by both the Astros and the Rangers. He's an Angels Hall of Famer. He's a Astro Hall of Famer, and he's a Texas Ranger Hall of Famer. He's a Major League Baseball All-Century team member, and he holds Major League Baseball records for 5,714 career strikeouts and 7 no-hitters. Also, he has a total of 51 records, and that's like being the oldest one to strike out a batter, being the oldest one to win a game, being the oldest one to throw a no-hitter, things like that. But he has 51 of them, 51 different records, right? He's a power pitcher, right? So he has 324 career wins, but he has almost 300 career losses, and that's because he's a power pitcher. So on top of that, he has probably a ton. I think he has. I'm not really sure where he ranks, but he has a lot of walks, and he probably gave up a lot of home runs because power meets power, right? And the faster you throw the ball, the farther you're going to hit it when you make contact, most of the time. So, but the things he accomplished, 5,714 strikeouts, the things he did after the age of 40, he had 3 no-hitters within 16 months, right? Sandy Koufax had 4 no-hitters, and he tied that like quick, By the time he was 28, 26, he had 3 no-hitters already. He finished with 7. Nobody has 7, right? The only thing that Jack's that did not do Nolan Ryan justice is Nolan Ryan has never had a freaking Cy Young award. He's never won a Cy Young award. I think they robbed him a lot of times. The year that he threw 383 strikeouts, he has that record too. It might have been broken since then. I think it has been broken since then. I think Randy Johnson broke that. I think Randy Johnson has over 400. But that year, Jim Palmer beat him out. And I don't know if it was that year, but one of those years he was with the Astros, Palmer beat him out, and he has no Cy Youngs. It's definitely an injustice, right? 11-time strikeout leader. Yeah, that's saying a lot. So I would say, as far as the power pitchers all time, Nolan Ryan's 1. And then you can go with Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson. Roger Clemens has like 7 Cy Young awards. And then you got Randy Johnson. Those guys were 3 definitely power pitchers. You could probably even put Koufax in there too. The difference between the pitchers nowadays and back then was now they monitor their innings pitched and all that because of all the injuries. You're never going to see another 300 game winner again. You know what I mean? You're not going to see 300 strikeouts in a season now. It's probably more like 250. I don't know. Kershaw might be getting close to that. Kershaw, I would say Clayton Kershaw is a power pitcher as well. For a start, and we're talking starters here, not relievers, because when relievers come in, they only come in for, it could be 1 batter, 2 batters, 3 batters, maybe a inning and a half. It's not, they don't come in there and pitch 3 innings. You know what I mean? So, like I said, he's got the all-time no-hit. And then another thing, he got his 5,000 strikeouts against Ricky Henderson. So there's guys that are also on the other side of the record books, when it comes to him. And what he's accomplished. Nolan Ryan is the all-time leader in no-hitters, which we know that was 7. I already mentioned that. 3 more than any other pitcher. He is tied with Bob Feller for the most no-hitters with 12. Wait a minute. That don't make sense. He is tied with Bob Feller for the most one-hitters with 12. Excuse me. Ryan also pitched 18 two-hitters. Despite this, he never pitched a perfect game, nor did he ever win a Cy Young, which I already mentioned that. Ryan is one of only 29 players in Major League history to have appeared in Major League Baseball games in 4 different decades. So he started in the 60s. So even if you only played 1 year in the 60s, that's still considered playing in that decade. 70s, 80s, 90s. That's 4 decades. You know what I mean? You got a lot of guys that got 5, 6, 7 decades because not only did they play within 4 decades, but then they coached and, you know, things like that. I think Pedro and Randy were the most dominant I ever saw in their prime. The trip about Randy, his prime was later in life. Yeah, Randy Johnson's from Livermore, which I'm gonna be doing some profiles also on the Bay Area, East Bay Area, most likely East Bay Area. Well, just the Bay Area. So either the East Bay, which is Oakland, Hayward, all that, Livermore, and then probably San Francisco. I don't know. We got to look at it. So I got already my guys for boxing, for football, for basketball, and then baseball, right? And baseball will be Randy Johnson, Frank Robinson, uh, uh, Ricky Henderson, and maybe Jimmy Rollins. Maybe Jimmy Rollins. Those dudes are all from the East Bay, so I might go there with those guys. Yeah, Nolan Ryan. So it's a shame that he never made the Hall of Fame. I mean, excuse me, he never made the Cy Young Award. He never won a Cy Young. That's just, I mean, just what I read right now. He has, so we know he has 7 no hitters, he has 12 one-hitters, and he has 18 two-hitters, and then all the games of all the ton of strikeouts that he's had. Yeah, Bill Russell. Yeah, Bill Russell's basketball, but yeah, I got Bill Russell there. Barry Bonds, more Southern California boy, and Tom Brady is San Mateo. So I might talk him. That's why I said more East Bay, Alameda County. You know what I'm saying? Because if that's the case, then we'll go with Devontae Adams, and we'll go with, you know, different guys. I haven't really made my mind up because I don't want to do a ton of guys because I'm already doing profiles on the 80s guys, which are these 2 guys are here are part of that as well. So I don't really, yeah, I don't, and then I don't like Tom Brady. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like how we got burnt by him back in 01 on that tuck rule shit, and I don't like the fact that this guy gets away with shit. They changed the rules for him. It is what it is. You can call me whatever, but you know what I mean? Yeah, Ricky Henderson definitely. Just chilling. Yep, that's right. Joy, you know, have a positive day at your job, bro. Um, And you know, it's just a shame that Nolan Ryan never got that. Now let me break it down. So he was traded from the Mets to the Angels. Then there was some contract disputes with the Angels, and then at the same time, his son was in a car accident. He was crossing the street. I guess the story goes that the kids in the neighborhood, he was at another kid's yard. They were playing, and some kids were making fun of his shirt or something. They were trying to rip his shirt off him. He took off running back to towards his house, and as he crossed the street, he gets hit. And he was, you know, he got hurt. He was in the hospital. He had his spleen removed and some other injuries. And so Nolan Ryan was like, I want to be closer to home. So then he ended up signing with the Astros. At the time, he was the first $1 million player, I believe, to sign a contract. And then he went to the Astros, was there for about almost 10 years. And then he went to the Rangers, which was also in Texas, and he accomplished a lot after he was over 40. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You know, definitely Nolan Ryan's in the top 10 of players of all time as far as pitchers. You know, but he wasn't that finesse pitcher. You know what I'm saying? E40, another Bay Area legend. So is Too Short. Bay Area. Oh yeah, no doubt. That's my shit, man. 1990s Bay Area rat, bro. Straight up. Carlos Moniz, my camarada. God bless my bro. Marky, forgot E40. No, that was the first one he said. Just chilling. E40, E40, E40. Big Güero Duran. Saludos, pai. Good call, Marky Mark. Ricky at GOAT. Greatest leadoff hitter of all time. Yep, greatest leadoff hitter of all time. Also the greatest stolen base over a career and in a season. You know what I'm saying? How about hitters? Yeah, I'm doing this one on Nolan Ryan and Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt definitely is a hitter. So Nolan Ryan, you know, he and then I don't know if you guys seen this, but he hit the young at the time, Robin Ventura, third baseman for the White Sox, and he ran out there and And Nolan Ryan grabbed him by the headlock and just started hitting him. Boom, boom, boom. He threw a lot of punches too, and he did not get kicked out of the game. So it went down as the most punches thrown in the game to not get kicked out. So that's the trip, right? That's what's up. JMSJ, what's up, brother? You and your family. I said mine. On the other hand, we got Mike Schmidt, right? Mike Schmidt. I believe Mike Schmidt is. Well, hold on. Let me finish this up. So Nolan Ryan was voted into the Hall of Fame in 1999 with 99% of the vote, which is damn near everybody, selected him. They voted him in. Okay, so I'm gonna go down the some of the records he has. So Ryan has 51 total Major League Baseball records, including, like I already said, the most strikeouts, 5,714. He has 215 career double-digit strikeout games. So that means 215 times he struck out at least 10 batters. He has 18 two-hitters. He has 31 three-hitters. He has 12 one-hitters. He has 15 200 strikeout seasons. He has 6 300 strikeout seasons. He has 6.555 career hits per 9 innings. He has 5.26 single season hits per 9 innings, 1972. Lowest batting average allowed career, minimum 1,500 innings. He's got .204 average, 26 seasons with at least one win, 2,795 career walks, 10 grand slams allowed, and 757 career stolen bases allowed. Those are just some of them right there. So definitely a lot. He's a beast, right? We all know he's a beast. Now this is another beast, right? Michael Jack Schmidt, born September 27, 1949 in Dayton, Ohio. He's 73 years old. Bats right, throws right. He debuted September 12, 1972 for the Phillies, and his last game was May 28, 1989 for the Phillies. Some of his career statistics: he's a .267 career batting average with 2,234 career hits, 548 career home runs, and 1,595 career runs batted in. He played his entire career with the Phils, 1972 to 89. He's a 12-time All-Star, 1974, 76, 77, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 86, 87, and 89. World Series ring in 1980. He's a 3-time NL MVP, right? 80, 81, 86. So he got back-to-back MVPs. He's a World Series MVP, 1980. He's a 10-time Golden Glove Award winner, 1976 through 1984 and 1986. 1976 through 1984 and 1986. He's a 6-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 84, 81, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 86. He's an 8-time NL home run leader, 74, 75, 76, 80, 81, 83, 84, and 86. So just like Nolan Ryan was an 11-time strikeout leader, this guy's an 8-time NL home run leader. He's a 4-time NL RBI leader, 80, 81, 84, and 86. And then 4 times, he's hit 4 home runs in one game on April 17th, 1976. His number 20 is retired by the Phillies. He's on the Phillies Hall of Fame. He's a Major League Baseball All-Century team member, and he's also a Major League Baseball all-time team member. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1995 with 96.5% of the vote. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, which that's goes without saying. 3-time MVP and a World Series MVP, and he was a third baseman. That's tough. Yeah, hot corner. You know what I mean? Black Hat Music. Who is this? I'm talking about Mike Schmidt. I just went down the list. I just talked about Nolan Ryan for the last 18 minutes. Now I'm talking about Mike Schmidt. Schmidt's parents are Joseph Jack Schmidt and Lois Jane Phillips. They managed the Phillips Aquatic Club, founded by Lois's great-grandfather, Charles Phillips. Schmidt was a lifeguard at the club. Imagine that. Yeah, Mike Schmidt I'm talking about right now. Let's see. He was drafted in wait a minute. I see that right. In 71, he was drafted by the Phillies. So in 72, he made his debut. So that's pretty good within a year, right? He spent 2 seasons in the Phillies farm system where he batted .263 with 34 home runs and 122 runs batted in. After playing most of the '72 season for the AAA Eugene, he was called up to the Phillies in September and made his major league debut against the Mets. Right. 4 days later, Philly on September 16th, Schmidt ended Montreal Expos pitcher Baylor Moore's streak of 25 scoreless innings pitched with his first career home run. Um, this, to have 10 golden gloves, 12-time All-Star, three National League MVPs, World Series MVP, all 6 Silver Sluggers, 8-time home run leader, I think it was 6-time RBI leader. That's all, you know, pushing the narrative that he's the greatest third baseman of all time, in my opinion. You know what I mean? This guy was still smacking out 30 plus home runs, in seasons, 14, 15 of his careers. He was, I remember that year that 88 Donruss, when they had the MVPs, it was, they put out an MVP for each team, and he was the Phillies, and George Bell was for the Blue Jays, and Andre Dawson for the Cubs, and Dale Murphy for the Braves, and Mark McGwire for the A's. I remember those cards, and that little section that said MVP was it just stuck out. You know what I mean? With the color, the background, the border of the cards were blue, and it was a badass. It was bad. It was just tight. You know what I mean? So Mike Schmidt. I mean, when you talk about third basemen, who else is in the mix? Yeah, Sal Bando. Yeah, but he's Sal Bando ain't nowhere near on this level. When you think of third basemen, who you got? Eddie Matthews, Mike Schmidt, who else? Brooks Robinson, A-Rod. I mean, he could be either a shortstop. Most of his career was shortstop. He didn't go to third till he came to the Yanks. So that's up for debate there. But yeah, he's okay. Greg Nettles. I don't think Greg Nettles is nowhere in the greats. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a good player he had a good span there, but I can't put him over any of those guys. Eddie Matthews had 512 career home runs. He was tied with Ernie Banks. Or he is tied with Ernie Banks. You had Gary Matthews. You had different guys that did stick out for their times. You know what I mean? But nowhere on the Mike Schmidt level. You know what I'm saying? Pete Rose wasn't really third base all the time, though. Pete Rose was second. He was in the outfield. George Brett. That was the other one I was thinking. George Brett was the one I was. George Brett was definitely the one that was in my mind that I was lost about. You could say Bobby Bonilla. You know what I mean? They ended up moving him to outfield. Gary Sheffield. They moved him to outfield. Vinny Castilla. Let me see. Matt Williams. There were some guys that did. You know what I mean? Yeah, George Brett's definitely up there. That was the one that lost my mind. I was trying to remember right now. But there was a lot of guys that had great careers for a span of 5 years, 7 years. There's a lot of them. You know what I mean? But this guy did it for an entire career. And the thing that sticks out about him and George Brett and Brooks Robinson, I don't think Brooks Robinson moved on from the Orioles either, is that they stood with the same club their entire career. That means a lot to me. That means a lot, because it ain't always about the money with these guys. They feel loyal to an organization that treated them well, and they treated the organization back well as well as their teammates, and they stuck around and they stood with that team. He has one World Series with them. So does George Brett, one World Series. Nolan Ryan was with the Mets, but he was traded off to the Angels, and then from there he wasn't appreciated. He was undervalued, so he moved on and signed better deals. Oh yeah, but that's another one. Wade Boggs. Yep, Wade Boggs is another one. Matter of fact, the first profiles I did on baseball was on Wade Boggs, George Brett, and Don Mattingly. So definitely two there. There you go. That's another one I was forgetting. Andre Beltre. I was stuck between him and Alfonso Soriano, but I think Alfonso Soriano was a second baseman, and then they moved him to the outfield. Jeter moved to third for a while. When did Jeter move to third? I remember them moving A-Rod to third when he came to the Yanks. I never knew Jeter played third. And then Cal Ripken, he was a third baseman for a little bit, and then they moved him to short, I think, if I remember correctly. I know there's a few other guys that I'm missing right now off the top of my head. Third baseman for the Dodgers back in during that team. Ron Cey. Ron Cey. He was another one. He played. Ron Cey played exceptionally well during his period of time there with the Dodgers. You know, so there's a lot of guys like Greg Nettles was said there. Sal Bando. You know, different guys like that. And, you know, Eddie Matthews Jr. Where they had, you know, they played well. They played well during their tenure with that certain team where they, you know, they were top-notch players for a little bit there. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was A-Rod that went to third. Yeah, correct. So I don't even know if you want to consider A-Rod a third baseman or not, because I really don't know how many seasons he played with the Yanks. Because with Seattle and Texas, he was shortstop. You know what I mean? Let me see. Let me look up. I'm going to look up this real quick and see what it says about third basemen. Greatest third basemen of all time. Let's see what it says. Well, Chipper Jones. That's what we forgot. Chipper Jones. So these are the ones that we have already mentioned. Mike Schmidt, George Brett, Wade Boggs, Brooks Robinson, Eddie Matthews, Adrian Beltre, Greg Nettles, Ken Boyer. That's who I forgot. Ken Boyer, and also Scott Rowland. I was trying to remember Scott Rowland, and I couldn't remember his name. Buddy Bell, Robin Ventura, Darrell Evans. I didn't know Darrell Evans. Oh, yeah, he did play third. Sal Bando, Ron Cey, who I mentioned. Gary Gaetti, there you go. That's another one. I mentioned Matt Williams. Troy Glaus, that's another one. Then Ken Caminiti, Edgar Martinez before they moved him DH. Terry Pendleton, Tim Wallach, Michael Ohl. That was the one I was trying to remember. Bill Madlock. It was Bill Madlock, not Eddie Matthews Jr. It was Bill Madlock. Okay, Bobby Bonilla, I did mention him. Bob Horner, there's another one. Eric Chavez. Brian Zimmerman, Josh Donaldson. These are newer guys. Kyle Seager. So yeah, so we got a lot of them. You know what I mean? Let's see. Ron Santo. Let's see what they say about Brooks Robinson. Was and is hands down the best fielding third baseman in Major League Baseball history. However, he was one of the weakest hitters to ever play. Wow. Himself as not only a solid defenseman, but also a stellar offensive baseball player, even before being called the poor man's Brooks Robinson. Whatever that means. Yeah. So yeah, so definitely from the power side, Mike Schmidt ain't even, well, I was gonna say it ain't even close. That's not true, because Eddie Matthews is only 36 home runs behind him. Adrian Beltre has about, I think he has 477 home runs to go along with 3,000 plus hits. So he's not too far behind him. But after that, power wise, that's who it is. You know what I mean? And then I think Chipper Jones has high 300s home runs. But I would put George Brett before Chipper Jones. And I would still put George Brett before Adrian Beltre as well, because of his hits and his average and the ball player that he was. You know what I mean? But yeah, Adrian Beltre definitely was a good one. Yeah, we forgot about Chipper Jones. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, Chopper. He might have the most hits. Chipper, you mean? Oh yeah, Chopper. He might have the most hits. Who's Chopper? You mean Chipper? I don't think Chipper has more hits than. Well, he probably has more hits than Mike Schmidt. Probably most definitely. Chipper Jones might be over 3,000 hits. I'm not sure. Let's see. No, Chipper Jones has 2,726 hits. And he has, let's see, 468 home runs. So I was off by almost 100. So yeah, he's definitely 468. So he's only he's 9 behind Beltre with 477. So you got Mike Schmidt with 548. Eddie Matthews 512. Beltray 477, and Chipper Jones with 468. You know what I mean? And then in the hit wise, I was gonna bring up Robin Yount. I did one on him too, but Robin Yount was a shortstop, and then they moved him to the outfield. And then Molitor was shortstop, and then they moved him over to, I think Molitor went up to second base. I know he's played some third base as well, and he played some outfield and DH on Molitor. So it's definitely those four as far as home runs, and then hit wise, George Brett and Wade Boggs are the top ones on the hit list with 3,000 plus. Remember, guys, there's only 33 players in baseball history that have more than 3,000 home runs. I mean, 3,000 home runs. 3,000 hits. There's only 3 batters, 3 baseball players to ever do it. That's it. You know, so you know, you're talking thousands and thousands of ball players that play baseball. You know what I mean? And only 33 guys have done it. You know what I mean? There's only been I think 4 or 5 that have 3,500 or more, and then there's only 2 guys that have 4,000 or more home runs or 4,000 or more hits, which is Pete Rose and Ty Cobb, right? So what's up, Yanks? Yeah, third base is third base is a tough position. It's a tough position. That's why they call it the hot corner. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, not only that, when you catch that, when you feel that ball, you know, deep in third base, you know what I mean? You gotta make that throw, man, all the way to the first baseman to try to get that runner out. You know, a lot of guys don't have that strong arm to do that. You know what I mean? You know, and these guys are diving to stop, you know, grounders, you know, that hug the line or, you know, bounce in the line once and then go out of play, but still considered fair. You know what I mean? So it's not easy to play that position, even though people think that, even though you might be an excellent second baseman, it's not the same going and playing third base. You know what I mean? Or if you're a good first baseman defensively, that you go and move over to third base. You know, usually it's the other way around. Third basemen move to first base when they get older, such as George Brett. You know what I mean? You know, when Kevin Seitzer came in the league back in the 90, I think it was. He came in 90, I believe. Wow. He came in 1990, and George Brett moved over to first base. So, yeah, it's definitely not an easy position to play. That's for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah, reflexes, arm and reflexes, and you got to be. Not only that, you got to be somewhat. You got to have athleticism. You know what I mean? You know, just like people say, "Oh, pro wrestling's fake." You know, it is fake, but it is fake, but it's not. You know, when it comes to the bumps and the athleticism of it, it's real. You know what I mean? So, you know, you gotta have you can't be an athlete and be a top-notch athlete, especially on defense, and not have, you know, not be able to move, man, not have some type of athleticism. You know what I mean? So I'm curious now, though, that it says that statement was made when I looked up Brooks Robinson, that he's the best all-time defensive third baseman. So I'm wondering, I'm gonna look it up real quick. I want to see what he had, you know, as far as, you know, as far as his Golden Gloves and all that. You got to be a major fucking athlete to be a wrestler. Yeah, no doubt. You know what I mean? It's not all fucking like, yeah, it is fake as far as the outcomes being set, you know, predetermined, who's gonna win and stuff like that. But you got to be able to get in there. You know, if you're wrestling a guy like, Bret the Hitman Hart, or even like Ric Flair at times, where these guys are wrestlers, actual wrestlers. You know what I mean? You got to be able to, be able to take bumps and take, arm tosses and all that stuff. Okay, so Brooks Robinson is a 267 career batting average with 2,848 hits. So he was just over about 150 hits shy of 3,000, with 268 home runs, 1,357 RBIs. So he was about 200 less than Mike Schmidt. And he played his entire career with the Orioles, 55 to 77. Oh, shit. He's an 18-time All-Star. He's got 2 rings as a champ. He's the AL MVP of the 64 season. Oh, he's a 16-time Golden Glove Award winner. There it is there. There it is there. That's what makes the difference there when it comes to him. Him and Mike Schmidt as being the defensive. But the fact that you mix in the 3 NL MVPs, the 6 Silver Sluggers, you know what I mean? The 8-time home run leader and the 6-time RBI leader, Mike Schmidt. And that's what makes the difference. I'm blessed with an arm. I could fire from deep center, left or right. I played short, second, but I was a pitcher. I threw my arm out by 17 years old. Still have major pain in shoulder when it's cold. Yeah, so that's exactly. See what Mark said? That's why they monitor these guys in these pitch now, because of all the injuries that guys have sustained over the years. And a lot of times, the so-called Tommy John surgery, which was named after the pitcher Tommy John, who had a long career like Nolan Ryan, 24 seasons, 26 seasons in the majors, something like that. Charlie Huff, another one. I didn't mention him earlier. Charlie Huff had 20-plus seasons in. Steve Carlton had 20-plus seasons. Tom Seaver. You had Don Sutton. You had the Gaylord Perry. You had the Necro brothers. Those were the pitchers of the 70s and early mid-80s pitchers that I remember. And then, of course, you had the old school pitchers, Whitey Ford, Drysdale, Koufax, Bob Gibson, Warren Spahn, Dizzy Dean, all those guys that were the top pitchers of those days. But back then, remember, when these guys started, their goal was to finish the game, to get a complete game, go for that no-hitter, definitely go for the win, and keep their ERA, giving up no more than probably a run or two, because, ERA is a big thing when it comes to, your record too, as far as chasing the no-hitter. I mean, chasing the Cy Young Award winner, getting that 20 games, winning that 20 games, you know what I mean? Definitely important, you know what I mean? I just can't get over that Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young Award. It's crazy. After all the 20-game winner seasons he had a few 16-game winners, 18-game winners, you know what I mean? That he never won a Cy Young. I can't get over that. All those times he threw 300 strikeouts in a season 6 times. He threw 200 plus strikeouts in a season. I think it said 10 times, if I remember correctly. 7 no-hitters. He has a record for that, right? He had the record for a long time for 383 strikeouts in one season. 300 wins, 5,700 plus strikeouts. It's just mind-boggling. At least one Cy Young Award. I can't understand. Dizzy Dean, damn, I haven't heard his name in years. Yeah, Dizzy Dean, bro. Oh, yeah, my pops used to school me on baseball big time back in the day. I remember having a board game that was all about baseball trivia. You know what I mean? One thing I'll give Chipper is he was a switch hitter at third base. That's pretty valuable. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. So that when I think of switch hitters, the guys that come to my mind is Chipper Jones, Eddie Murray, Mickey Mantle, Roberto Alomar. I think Pete Rose was a switch hitter too, I believe. Back when I pitched and played, there was none of what they got today. Back then, you pitched the whole fucking game with a sore. Yeah. They even said one game that Nolan Ryan had some badass cramps where he could barely stand, barely, and he couldn't even really walk without getting some help. You know what I mean? Um, so definitely, you know, again, these two good dudes were power players from both sides of the ball. Obviously, Ryan being the pitcher and Mike Schmidt being the hitter. But and again, that's why Nolan Ryan almost has 300 strikeouts. I mean, excuse me, 300 losses. That's why he has a lot of walks. You know, because that's what you get when you power. You know, you're a power pitcher. Plus, is like I said, his first few seasons with the Mets, he was not. He didn't have control. He was very wild. He hit a lot of batters. You know what I mean? And you know, it is what it is. And not until he got to the Angels did he have a pitching coach. And once he got with that pitching coach, I can't think of the guy's name right now. Once he got that pitching coach in the Angels, that's when he started getting his control under. You know, he started getting his control under his control. You know, and able to pitch that fastball and place it where he wanted. You know, his curveball. I think he only had 3 pitches: curveball, the fastball, and maybe the changeup. I don't remember what the other third one was called, but you know, for him. But definitely, you know, Nolan Ryan is definitely a top 10 pitcher. From what he's accomplished, you know, I definitely, you know, we've named a lot of the names here earlier, you know, a minute ago with all-time greatest. Yeah, I had brought that up already about him grabbing Robin Ventura like that, and you know, like a he grabbed him like a little calf and just took him under, you know, and then Nolan Ryan ends up getting everybody falls on top of him, and he said that Bo Jackson, who was a part of the White Sox at that time, grabbed him and pulled him out of there because he said he thought he was going to faint because he fell face first into the dirt, and he said his face was actually in the dirt and he couldn't breathe, so he thought he was going to pass out, which he didn't because Bo ended up grabbing him and pulling him out of there. You know what I mean? But yeah, he took him like nothing. And then I don't know if you guys remember, he got into it with Dave Winfield too. Dave Winfield charged him on the mound when Dave Winfield was with the Padres. He went upstairs on Winfield, where Winfield literally had to jump out of the way that he wouldn't get hit. Remember, Dave Winfield was 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", so he had to damn near fall, throw himself back so that he didn't get hit. And then he ended up charging the mound, and they ended up throwing some punches at each other. That's a fact. I've seen footage of that. I was wild too, only care about throwing hard and fast. Once I started to learn control and settle it down, was I feeling? I can't explain. Okay, yeah. And then also Nolan Ryan, what was I gonna say about him right now? He like I mentioned, he never had a pitching coach. So once he got to the Angels, that's when he got 3 no-hitters in like 16 months. He was only like 26 years old at the time. That's where he was striking out a lot of his 300 his 300 season strikeouts was against, or not against, but while he was with the Angels. And that's where he just learned to settle it down, you know, and place that ball where he wanted to. He would go inside on guys a lot to tell them, hey, respect me. You know what I'm saying? Respect me. You know, you're hugging the plate too much, you know. And George Brett said that him and Nolan Ryan were voted into the Hall of Fame. Well, they got their, you know, the ceremony the same day. And he said he was even nervous to be by him on the podium, or not the podium, but the platform. You know what I mean? Oh shit, I forgot. Can't forget about Joe D, a Bay Area legend. Supposedly went to my high school. I delivered papers to his house as a kid. Met him twice. Joe D. Who's Joe D? Joe DiMaggio? No, it can't be Joe DiMaggio. Joe D. Joe D. I don't know what it is. I think Will Clark first career at bat was a home run off Nolan Ryan. Pretty cool. Might have been. Let me know who Joe D is. I know who it is. I just don't know by that name, Joe D. So you got to break it down for me. But yeah, I was gonna say something else about Nolan Ryan. Now that slipped my mind. And you know too, when Nolan Ryan went to the Houston Astros, there was a lot of guys that were there with that club that had been there for like 8-10 years. You know what I mean? These guys were at Houston Astros. You know, he went over there. He joined Mike Scott, who was another good pitcher at the time. You had Kevin Bass was there from like 82 to 88. You had a few other guys. I can't think of everybody's names right now, but you know, he fell right in right there. You know, he felt at home. There was something else I was going to say about. Okay, so Nolan Ryan, I'll go with this one. Nolan Ryan, you know, you could, you know, power pitcher. I think he's number one. Overall pitching, career wise, I would say definitely in the top 10 to 15. But you got, you know, you got Pedro Martinez, you got Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens. You know, you got Steve Carlton, Tom Seaver. You know, you got Walter Johnson, Cy Young. You know, Whitey Ford, Drysdale, Koufax, Gibson, Warren Spahn. You know, all those guys are also, I believe, top 10 pitchers, top 10 to 15. You know what I mean? Easy, you know. But like I said, those guys, Ryan and Frankie Rodriguez, those guys, you know, were around 2+ decades. You know, Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver. Let's see. How many games did Nolan pitch 8 innings just to lose 2-1 or 3-1? The Angels and Nationals were trash back then. Yeah, androids. If Nolan was a Yankee, he would be the GOAT. Maybe. Let's see. How many seasons did Steve Carlton play in the major leagues? Let's see what it says. 24 seasons Steve Carlton played. Right? How many seasons did Tom Seaver pitch in the major leagues? Tom Seaver, 20 seasons. How many seasons did Tommy John pitch in the major leagues? Tommy John, 26 seasons. Who else? How many seasons did Don Sutton pitch in the major leagues? 23 seasons for Don Sutton. How many seasons did Charlie Huff pitch in the major leagues? Charlie Huff, 25 seasons. How many seasons did Jack Morris pitch in the major leagues? Jack Morris, 18 seasons. How many years did Ron Guidry pitch in the major leagues? 14 seasons, Ron Guidry. How many seasons did Sandy Koufax pitch in the major leagues? 12 only for Sandy Koufax. So Sandy Koufax finished 165 wins, 87 losses with the 2.76 ERA with 2,396 strikeouts, 137 complete games, and 40 shutouts. He was the MVP and Cy Young in 63 and also won a Cy Young in 65 and 66. How many seasons did Bob Gibson pitch in the major leagues? 17. How many seasons did Cy Young pitch in the major leagues? You know, another one is Satchel Paige, right? He pitched, let's see, 22 years, Cy Young did. How many years did Walter Johnson pitch in the major leagues? Yeah, I never heard that Joe DiMaggio was from the Bay Area. But you know what? You know what? That does ring a bell now. He might have been the other one that I had instead of Jimmy Rollins. It might have been Joe DiMaggio. So Walter Johnson pitched 21 years in the majors. How many years did Christy Mathewson pitch in the major leagues? 17.
How many years did Warren Spahn pitch in the major leagues? 21 for Warren Spahn. How many years did Dizzy Dean pitch in the major leagues? Let's see. So he played with the Cardinals from 30, 32 to 37, so that's 6 years. 4 more years with the Cubs, so that's 10, and 1 with the St. Louis Browns, so 11. How many years did Don Drysdale pitch in the major leagues? 14 years, Drysdale. How many years did Whitey Ford pitch in the major leagues? 16. How many years did Ferguson Jenkins pitch in the major leagues? 19 seasons. How many years did Satchel Paige play baseball? 'Let's see. So Satchel Paige, his career spanned 5 decades. And the reason I asked how many years did he pitch in baseball is because he was part of the Negro Leagues many years before the majors. So it doesn't really give me an answer there. How many years did Jim Palmer pitch in the major leagues? 19, Jim Palmer. How many years did Randy Johnson pitch in the major leagues? 22 for Randy Johnson. How many years did Roger Clemens pitch in the major leagues? 24, Roger Clemens. How many years did Pedro Martinez play in the major leagues? 92 to 2009. So what is that, 17, 18 seasons? And a lot of people forget Roger Clemens played 24 seasons, pitched 24 seasons. A lot of people forget about Ramon Martinez, Pedro's brother. He was a decent pitcher. He was a good pitcher. He wasn't a great pitcher like his brother, but he was a good pitcher for sure. Let's see. So yeah, so that breaks down these two players, man, that I really believe are at their position are one of the best. Okay, Curt Schilling. Let me see. How many years did Curt Schilling pitch in the major leagues? 20 seasons. So majority of these pitchers, no matter if they're way back in the day in the 40s and 50s, they all pretty much averaged 20 seasons in pitching. The only ones that were lower was Ron Guidry with 14, and also Koufax with like 12. But majority of everybody else was like 18 and up. You know what I mean? Roger Clemens won a World Series in Major League Baseball, college, and Little League. And he's also a 7-time Cy Young Award winner. Yep, the Rocket was a bad man. Yep. But unfortunately for him, he's stuck in that that steroid bull crap. So he can't get into the Hall of Fame, man. It's and I don't think he's never even been caught. He's never even gave up a dirty test for PEDs. Same thing with Barry Bonds. They're just going off of their physique, the way they bulked up, and and how they were able to still play at a high tech level later in their career. But same thing with Barry Bonds. I believe that Roger Clemens, before they started thinking he was on the juice, he already had Hall of Fame numbers. You know what I mean? Before they suspected that Barry Bonds was on the juice was after he made the move to the Giants, I believe, right? And he already had 3 MVPs in the bag already. He's a needle guy. Sorry, no soup for you. He's a needle guy. Sorry, no soup for you. Yeah, so it is what it is. I don't know. What do your guys take on that? What do you guys think about what do you guys think about the Hall of Fame deal with these guys? When it comes to Bonds and Bonds and Bonds and Clemens. Imagine how many Hall of Fame used PEDs and never got popped for it and slid in the Hall. Imagine that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think some of these guys like Nolan Ryan or Mike Schmidt, Henry Aaron, all those old school guys, I don't believe they were doing it. I could be wrong. They definitely didn't do it like some of these guys. When you look at guys like Palmeiro and Manny Ramirez, A-Rod, they've got actually caught. Bartolo Colon. I don't know if Juan Gonzalez got caught ever. I don't know if Sammy got caught. But definitely those other guys I mentioned got caught. You know what I mean? Barry Bonds won 3 MVPs before he was accused of steroids and got robbed 2 more. Bonds an all-time great. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I remember seeing Bonds play at Dodger Stadium and hearing all the LA fans calling Bonds some of the worst fucking names you could call somebody. And he still took it till about the 6th inning. Then he didn't come back out after the 6th inning. Wow. Never knew that. But yeah, but Barry Bonds he was raised in Riverside area. Matter of fact, he went to high school with I think he went to high school with Reggie Miller. You know what I mean? I don't consider him a Bay Area dude. Even though his dad played for the Giants, they might have lived there for a little bit, but he played his high school baseball in Riverside, I believe, if I'm correct about all that. And I'm pretty sure he went to school with Reggie Miller. So yeah, it might have been Joe DiMaggio. Now that Drito brought that to my attention, it might have been. I have to look because I got it all on notes, but I think it might have been Joe DiMaggio that I end up putting on my list of baseball players from the Bay Area. Oops. And I took off Jimmy Rollins. Let me see. Let me check. Oh, so yeah, he was born in Martinez, California. He died in Hollywood, California. So yeah, that might have been. He might have been. Martinez ain't Alameda County, but it's close enough. I mean, it's not far at all. His parents were Sicilian. He was the 8th of 9 children born to a Sicilian immigrants, Giuseppe and Rosalia DiMaggio from Isolo delle Femminili. Yep, so there it is. His father settled in Pittsburg, California, on the east side of the San Francisco Bay. And then they lived in San Francisco. So yeah, I would go. I'm pretty sure he was the one that I replaced Jimmy Rollins with. So my baseball players was going to be Frank Robinson, Randy Johnson, Joe DiMaggio, and Ricky Henderson. Those were my Bay Area ones. I'm the biggest A's fan alive, but Canseco, McGuire are needle guys. They're in the same trash class as Bonds, A-Rod, Palmeiro, and Clemens. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot of guys, man. What about Pete Rose? You guys, what do you believe with Pete Rose? Do you believe he should be banned like that, and he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame? What did his playing career have to do with what happened later? You know what I'm saying? This guy is Charlie Hustle. This guy's got the most hits in baseball, well over 4,000. You know what I mean? He was part of championship teams. I don't believe that he should be. I believe he should be. He should be given his, man. You know what I mean? Now, as far as ever managing a team again and like that, okay. Even though it's been already over 30 years now. That happened to him in 88, I believe, 88, 89, when he was the manager of the Reds. I commissioned an HRSG in Martinez, California. You can see the Go Gen from the freeway to the right when heading west. Okay. Pete Rose should be in there. Yeah, I think so too. Nope. Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, exactly. Pete Rose has paid his debt. Yeah, exactly. And he should be in there before he passes. Like Like poor Dick Allen, man, he was only one vote away from getting into the Hall of Fame, and the only reason he wasn't in because the Veterans Committee didn't participate or something like that because of the COVID. And then he passes away. You know, he should have been in the Hall of Fame this last one or the one before. Um, During Dick Allen's time, he was the most dominant, if not the most dominant. He was one of the top two or three dominant players in that span that he had. You know what I mean? But because of injuries and stuff, his career was short. But he still hit well over 300 something home runs. You know what I mean? Um, that's the type of stuff they do, man. Like Cliff Branch, you know, the Raiders, he passes away, then they put him in the Hall. You know, fortunately for Tom Flores, who he should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago, he finally got in before he passed. But you know, you're talking about a guy that was the first Latino quarterback ever in professional football. He has a ring as a backup quarterback to Len Dawson. He has a ring as a head coach. He has a ring as an assistant coach. You know what I mean? He had done a lot in the game. Yeah, Dick Allen should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. Yep. Carlos too. P Rose got my vote. Exactly. He should be in there, man. I don't believe that his playing career had anything to do with uh anything to do with, you know, what he ended up being admitting to later on. You know, the gambling thing. It had nothing to do with his playing career. Matter of fact, it was already what I think Pete Rose stopped playing baseball in the early '80s. You know, he already had a few years retired that he wasn't playing no more. You know, before he became a full time manager, he was a player manager, I believe, if I remember correctly. But he should be in there. I think other guys should be in there too. Carlos Delgado, Dale Murphy, Todd Helton, Keith Hernandez should be in there. You know what I mean? There's some guys that just got done dirty that should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Don Mattingly should be in there too. You know, unfortunately, his career was cut short because of injuries, but I think he should be in there. You know, there's a lot more guys. There's a guy that made a video that he has a player from each team that should be in there. Now, obviously, there's a lot of guys that should have went in with this team, but because there's many guys from a certain team, you know, he kind of spreaded it out. Um, is Gary Sheffield? I don't even think Gary Sheffield is in there, bro. Barry not being in there is crazy as fuck. Yeah, but I mean, it is. But you know, some of these guys, you know, they hold that. You know what I mean? Once debt is paid to society, let them be free to benefit in every way. Life set lessons. Yeah, I think he paid enough already. 30 years, it's been 30 plus years. People make mistakes in life. Yeah, and it wasn't like he killed somebody. It wasn't like you know what I mean? It was some gambling. You know what I mean? Same with Clemens. He should be in there too. Yeah, yeah. Like you said, right, baseball politics, bro. Just like with everything, politics are always involved. You know what I mean? Um, Definitely. Trying to. I don't know. Is Gary? Let me see. I don't know if Gary Sheffield is in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he is. Is Gary Sheffield in the Baseball Hall of Fame? No, he stayed. He don't even get half the vote. He's at 40.6. Sheffield, who appeared on the ballot for the eighth time, has 2 years remaining. Known for his bionic bat waggle, Sheffield spent 6 of his 22 major league seasons in South Florida, his longest stint of 8 stops. So he's not in it. He has 500 plus home runs. That they always said if you were a 500 home run guy or a 3,000 hit guy that you were shoot in there. So if you had both, you were definitely in. But unfortunately, with this guy, no, because I guess he falls in the steroid deal. I guess I don't know. I don't understand that. He should be in there. You know what I mean? He should be in there. I don't see why Gary Sheffield's not in there. Um, it's some of these writers, man. Sometimes it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? They should be in there. I can't call it like an alcoholic, man. I don't know. Obviously, I don't vote. If I was voting, I would vote for Bonds. I'd vote for Clemens. I'd vote for Sheffield. I'd vote for Pete Rose. I'd push the issue. Um, Carlos Delgado, Dale Murphy, there's a lot of other guys. Dave Kingman. I don't think Dave Kingman's in there. Is Dave Kingman in the Baseball Hall of Fame? In '92, his first year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame, he appeared on just 3 ballots excluded him from the Future Baseball Writers Association of America. He was the first player to hit 400 or more home runs without being eventually inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he has 442. I think that's enough to get in there too. But yeah, I can't, I don't know what's up with that, man. It just doesn't make sense. You know, guys like Randy Ramirez, I think he was caught twice. A-Rod caught twice. They paid their you know, their debt, you know, with the suspensions and all that. You know, I don't know what you guys feel on that. Like how long they should have to suffer as far as, you know, not moving on with the career as far as getting in there. I mean, what about Albert Pujols? You know, he just went over 700 home runs. You know, he's got 22 seasons as a major league player. You know, is he steroids too? Even though he ain't got caught, I'd say let them all in except Kirk Gibson. Oh man, I'll never forget that day. Gosh, 1988 October. Jeez. Yeah, it is what it is. You're talking a mediocre Dodger team, man, with no real super. They had no superstars. They had a star. They had, well, you know, at one point, actually, yeah, Guerrero was still there, I believe. Yeah, Steve Sachs, right? Mike Davis, Mickey Hatcher, Sosha, Hershiser probably was their best two, uh, with all those scoreless innings pitched. But yeah, they beat the number one offensive team in baseball with Canseco, McGuire, Dave Henderson. Ricky wasn't there. Ricky came the next season. It was Dave Henderson, Steinbach, Canseco, McGuire, Dave Parker, Don Baylor, Ron Hussey, Walt Weiss, Tony Phillips, Mike Gallegos, Dave Stewart, Bob Welch. All those guys were there. You know what I mean? Kirk Gibson, my guy. Yeah, that was crazy. He had some good seasons with the Tigers before he went to the Dodgers, but yeah, he hit. Oh yeah, Eckersley. That's who he hit the home run off of. Dennis Eckersley. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's going to conclude the profiles on Nolan Ryan and Mike Schmidt. And I'm glad you guys threw some other things out there, and we went another avenue with other you know, looking up other pitchers and talking about other pitchers and stuff, and also talking about other third basemen, looking up other third basemen. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and close out. I'm here at the store. I gotta go take care of something. I might be doing another something a little later. If not, it'll probably be tomorrow. It's either gonna be a something on prison or something mob related. Um, I don't know just yet, but it'll be something. Wow, one of the rappers from Milos got killed. Well, I don't know what Milos is. Omigos. Yeah, that's crazy too. This shit's getting out of control. These rappers getting killed. Man, what are they getting killed over? Chains and stacks of money, or what is it? Or them coming into different areas that they're not from? I don't know, but this shit's out of control. I mean, even back in the day, the Bay Area rappers, a lot of them were killed as well. You know, Black C, Mr. C, uh, Rappin' Ron, Seagrams, Scary X. You know, a lot of guys were killed. But this shit's out of control these last 2-3 years, man. A lot of these rappers, I don't even know, I never even heard of them until they get killed. It's crazy. Is it the fact that they're going to other areas and they're not supposedly checking in, right? Or what's going on? I know a lot of guys are flashing stacks and stacks of bands, of racks of money, you know, on social media with these big old outrageous fat ass chains. I mean, is that what it is? Robberies or what? I don't know, but it's definitely out of hand. And that fucking Charleston White, he's off the hook with what he says. His mouth, he ain't got no problem talking about he works with the feds. Yep, the Ville, yep, 6'9" Ville, Seagrams, RIP. Yep. So thanks everybody for stopping in. Drito 5K, Black Hat Music, Mark, my boy. My pai, Carlos. And who else stopped in? I think that's about it. I'm going back checking. I don't want to leave anybody behind. But I think that was pretty much it. Oh, Yankees for life. And JMSJ, Big Weddle Duran, excuse me. Just chilling. Okay. Yep. Got everybody. So yeah, appreciate everybody for stopping in. I also appreciate everybody that's gonna watch this video after it's posted. Nick M, what's going on, brother? Goodbye. Yeah. Everybody that stops in after it's posted and watches it, I highly appreciate each and every one of you guys. And with that being said, Big Lou tapping out. Carlos, I'm about to give you a call right now if you're still in here.